Hello, I hope you are doing great. So we are starting new lesson today, Unit 8, Sports and Games. Sports and Games, Skills 1. Here we go. First of all, let's look at the vocabulary. Regard somebody or something as somebody or something is kind of verb. Okay, it's kind of verb. And what does it mean? It means sim or koi, ne, and professional. Professional is kind of adjective. It's kind of adjective. So what does it mean in Vietnamese? It's chuyên nghiệp. And next one, career. It's kind of noun. And what does it mean in Vietnamese? Sự nghiệp. And next one, vote. It's kind of verb. And what does it mean in Vietnamese? Bầu. And next one, score. It's kind of verb. And what does it mean in Vietnamese? Is ghi bàn or ghi tiêm. I think I am wrong, but like that. I can read only like that. I'm sorry about it. And here we go. So the stress is regard, regard, and professional. The stress is here, okay, and career. The stress is here, career. Okay, so let's check vocabulary and let's match the words with their meaning in Vietnamese, as you see here. Okay, so are you ready? Here we go. The first one is regard, this one, and professional. Do you remember what is it in Vietnamese? This one. And career. Do you remember what is it in Vietnamese? This one. And vote. Do you remember? It is this one. And score. Do you remember what does mean score in Vietnamese? And this is score. It's kind of verb we use in games. Okay, here we go. So work in pairs, discuss the questions. Okay, so we have some questions. We have 3 questions here. Do you know Pelé, the king of football? And what is special about him? Where does he come from? And what other things do you know about him? So there is here a text. Okay, so we will read this text and we will try to understand. But first of all, please pay attention about the pronunciation of the words. Okay, pay attention about the pronunciation of the words. Read the text quickly to check your ideas in number 1. Edson Arantes do Nascimento, better known as Pelé, is widely regarded as the best football player of all time. Pelé was born on October 21st in 1940 in the countryside of Brazil. Pelé's father was a professional football player and taught Pelé how to play at a very young age. Pelé began his career at the age of 15 when he started playing for Santos Football Club in 1958. At the age of 17, Pelé won his first World Cup. It was the first time the World Cup was shown on TV. People around the world watched Pelé play and cheered. Pelé won 3 World Cups and scored 1,281 goals in his 22-year career. In 1999, he was voted Football Player of the Century. Pelé is a national national hero in Brazil. During his career, he became well known around the world as the king of football. So let's answer these questions about Pelé. Do you know Pelé, the king of football? What is special about him? Here's the answer. Yes, I do. He played football very well. And number 2, where does he come from? He comes from Brazil. Sure. And number 3, what other things do you know about him? He won his first World Cup when he was 17 years old. During his career, he won 3 World Cups and scored 1,281 goals in 1991. He was voted the Football Player of the Century. Here we go. So there is an exercise here. Number 3. Read the text again and answer the questions. Number 1. When was Pelé born? He was born on 21st of October in 1940. And number 2, why do people call him the king of the football? Because he is such a good football player. He was a very successful football player. When did he become football player of the century? He became football player of the century in 1999. And number 4, how many goals did he score in total? He scored 1,281 goals in total. And number 5, is he regarded as the best football player of all time? Yes, exactly, he is. And now let's continue to speaking. Okay, so number 4, how often do you go or do or play these sports or games? Tick the right column. And for example, jogging, I will make some sentences about me, and you can also make these kind of sentences about you. Okay, here we go. For example, me, I always go jogging, always. For example, swimming, I sometimes go swimming. Badminton is kind of game, so we play badminton. I never play badminton because I can't. But Vietnamese people play badminton very well. That's great. Football, I sometimes play football. Morning exercise, I always do morning exercise because it's very healthy. And skipping, I never go skipping. And chess, I usually play chess. And cycling, I always go cycling. Skateboarding, I never go skateboarding. It's a bit difficult for me. And skiing, I never go skiing. It's also a bit difficult and hard to learn and to do. Here we go. Now, usage of the frequency adverbs. Subjects plus always, usually, sometimes, and never, plus go, do, play, plus activities. I mean game, okay, or sports. For example, I usually go jogging. I always go cycling. I sometimes play chess. I never go skateboarding. As you see, there are subjects here. Then we use frequency of adverbs, and then we use verb and activities. Okay? Here we go. Now, working groups. What kind of sports or games do you do most often and why? And we have a text here. Model 1. So you can write two kind of text, okay? The first one is here. Let's read it together. Okay? Let's start. Here we go. I have played several games both indoors and outdoors. Among those games, I enjoyed playing chess more than others. I mostly play this game with my friends or cousins, sometimes with my father or senior relatives. Since playing chess requires only some small room for the two players, we can play it almost in anywhere. I enjoyed this game because I have had a fascination for it since my childhood. This game requires perfect game plans to find weaknesses of the opponent and uses a suitable battle strategy to defeat the opponent. A player can apply his or her strategies and then allures the opponent to fall into traps, which is like a real battlefield. Playing chess gives you a feel of being the king of a regime where you decide your countryman's fate. For all those reasons, playing chess is a very interesting and enjoyable game to me. And number 2, it is second model. You can write this text on your notebook and you can read it in your classroom. Okay? Number 2, it's just example. Let's read it together. Among many sports and games, I enjoy playing volleyball best. It's a team game. There are 2 teams of 6 players which are separated by a net. Like football, volleyball needs a ball to play with. In a volleyball match, each team tries to score points by grounding the ball on the other's team court under rules. Volleyball players usually use their hands or arms to push or strike the ball. The time of a volleyball match is not fixed, and the players need to have good physical health to play, especially the strikers, because they have to move and jump all the times. I love volleyball because it's a very exciting and competitive game. And model 3. Okay, so you can write this text also about your favorite sport on your notebook and you can read it in your classroom. My favorite sport is football. Even though I am not now practicing it anymore, it's still the sport that I love most. Nowadays, most of people in the world like football, so it's called the king of sports. Why do people like it? I think the reason is that it's a team game and requiring the players to coordinate well with one another. Moreover, it's cheap to play, and it's interesting to watch. You can play football everywhere provided that you have a ball and a yard, even big or small. In the past, only men played football, but now both men and women can play it. For me, I like football because it's a very interesting and competitive sport. I like the over-enthusiastic air on stadium of each match. Anyway, football is always the most favorite sport of mine. That's all. Now please tell me what you have learned today. And next one, now write about your favorite game in the comments below. What is your favorite game and why? Please